Daniel Foster walked through the tall doors of the Galactic Council chamber. His boots made quiet sounds on the polished floor. Around him, the chamber rose high above his head. The walls were made of materials that glowed with soft light. Everything was clean and perfect. He was alone. No other human had ever stood in this place before. Daniel knew this. He felt it in his chest. The council members sat in a circle. There were 12 of them. Each one came from a different species. They looked at Daniel as he walked to the center of the chamber. None of them smiled. Commander Vex was the first to speak. He was from the Krell race. His skin was thick and green. His eyes were very dark, like empty space. Vex did not move from his chair. "A human," Vex said. His voice was deep and slow. "How strange. We have received a message from Earth. Your leaders wish to join the Federation." Daniel stopped in the center of the chamber. He kept his back straight. He had trained for this moment for months. He knew what he wanted to say. "Earth is ready," Daniel said. His voice was calm and clear. "We have technology. We have resources. We can be useful to the Federation." Lyra moved in her chair. She was from the Venitri race. Her body was thin and made of many parts that moved with water inside. When she spoke, her voice was like wind. "Earth is very far away," Lyra said. "Your planet is young. Your species is even younger. Why should we care about humans?" Daniel had expected this question. "Because we bring something different. We have ideas that come from a harsh world. Earth is not easy. Humans have learned to work together to solve hard problems. We can help the Federation grow." Council leader Kane did not speak right away. He was the oldest. His race was called the Anthron. They had existed for millions of years. Kane's body was large and covered with marks that showed his age. His eyes were gold and very old. "The human speaks with some confidence," Kane said. "But confidence is not knowledge. Humans live for only 80, perhaps 90 years. In that short time, what can you possibly learn? What can you possibly build that will matter to us?" Vex made a sound like a laugh. It was not a kind sound. 80 years, Vex said. "I have lived for 3,000 years. I've watched 7 civilizations rise and fall. This human thinks 80 years is long enough to understand anything. It is foolish." Daniel felt the words hit him, but he did not show it. He took a breath. "Time is not the only measure of worth," Daniel said. "Humans live short lives, yes, but we are not slow. We learn fast. We create fast. We adapt fast. In 80 years, a human can achieve things that take your species centuries." Another council member spoke. His name was Thoreau's. He was from the Grell species. His voice was hard and cold. "The human raises an interesting point," Thoreau said. "But it is still irrelevant. Earth has no military power, no resources we need, no technology that is advanced. You would be a burden to the Federation. You would require protection. You would require teaching. And for what? What do humans offer that we do not already have?" Daniel opened his mouth to answer, but Kane raised his hand. "This council will vote," Kane said. "The question is simple. Should Earth be accepted into the Federation?" The voting was fast. One by one, each council member indicated their choice. Daniel watched their faces. They all chose the same way. They all said no. When it was finished, the vote was 12-0. Earth was rejected. Lyra spoke to Daniel again. Her voice had no anger in it. It had no interest in it either. "You may return to Earth," Lyra said. "Tell your leaders that they must wait. Perhaps in a few thousand years, your species will be ready for the Federation. Perhaps," Vex made that laugh sound again. "Or perhaps humans will be gone by then," Vex said. Your species is fragile. Your world is fragile. The universe is not a kind place, human. You should not expect help from us." Daniel did not argue. He had already lost. Arguing more would only make it worse. He turned and walked back toward the doors. As he walked, he heard the council members talking behind him. They were not speaking quietly. They did not care that he could hear them. "A waste of time," Taro said. "They mean well," Lyra said. "But they are not ready. They will never be ready," Vex said. "Humans are soft. Humans are weak. Humans will never understand the power that we have." Daniel reached the doors. They opened for him. He walked out into the corridor, and the doors closed behind him. The sound of them closing was very loud. He stood alone in the corridor. His hands were closed into fists. His jaw was tight. He wanted to punch something. He wanted to shout. He wanted to tell them all that they were wrong about humans. But he did not do any of these things. Instead, Daniel Foster took a long breath. He straightened his clothes. He cleared his mind. And then he started walking back toward his ship. As he walked, he made a decision. The Galactic Council had judged humanity and found humans to be weak. They had decided that humans were not worth their time. They had decided that humans were not worth the Federation. Daniel would remember every word they said. He would remember every dismissal. He would remember the sound of Vex's voice saying that humans were fragile and soft. And he would make them remember too. He did not know how yet. He did not know when. But he knew that one day, the Galactic Council would understand what they had underestimated. One day, they would all understand. Daniel Foster walked through the corridors of Centauri Prime. Behind him, the council chamber sat in silence. The council members had already forgotten about the human from Earth. They had no idea what was coming. They had no idea at all. Kepler Station hung in space like a small city. Below it, the planet Kepler 442 turned slowly. The station had mining equipment and living quarters and storage rooms. Inside the station, humans and aliens worked together to pull minerals from the ground below. They did not work together by choice. They worked together because they had to. Dr. Catherine Wells managed the station. She was strong and smart. She had built this station from nothing. She had trained her workers. She had made the mining operation work even when supplies were low and the work was hard. But Kepler Station was not her station anymore. Not completely. 3 weeks ago, a Krell ship had arrived. On that ship was Prince Theron. He was the son of Commander Vex. The council had sent him to inspect the mining operations on Kepler Station. Theron was supposed to report back to the council about whether humans were worth keeping as workers. Theron was nothing like his father. He was worse. Theron treated the human workers like they were machines. He would walk through the corridors and order humans to move. He would stand and watch humans work, then laugh at how slow they were. He told the alien workers that humans were barely intelligent. He said humans should be grateful that the council allowed them to work at all. One morning, Theron decided to visit the mining tunnel. He wanted to see the operation for himself. He brought 3 alien engineers with him. Catherine felt worried when she heard this. The tunnels were dangerous. Equipment failed sometimes. Accidents happened. She told Theron that the tunnels were not safe for visitors. Theron did not listen. He never listened to Catherine. "I do not require your permission, human," Theron said. "I will go where I wish. You will show me the tunnels now." Catherine took him down into the tunnels. Lieutenant Marcus Johnson came with them. He was responsible for safety in the mines. Marcus carried emergency equipment and first aid supplies. He was always ready for problems. The tunnel they entered was deep. The walls were made of rock. Electric lights hung from the ceiling. Mining equipment moved along tracks, pulling stones and minerals from the ground. For a time, nothing happened. Theron walked with the alien engineers. They talked in their own language. They did not speak to Catherine or Marcus. Then the ground shook. It was a small shake at first. Then it became bigger. Dust fell from the ceiling. The electric lights swung back and forth. Structural failure. Marcus shouted, "We need to move now." They started to run. Behind them, a section of the tunnel ceiling began to fall. Large pieces of rock came down. The sound was like an explosion. One of the alien engineers was too slow. A piece of rock hit him on the shoulder and knocked him down. Another engineer could not run fast enough. The rocks were falling faster and faster. Catherine and Marcus helped pull the two aliens back toward the entrance. Rocks hit the ground around them. Dust filled the air and they could not see well. But Theron did not move. He stood in the middle of the tunnel. He stared at the falling rocks like he could not believe what was happening. "Theron!" Catherine screamed. "Move now!" She ran back to him. She grabbed his arm and pulled him toward safety. The third engineer was right behind them. They ran hard. Behind them, the entire section of tunnel collapsed. Rock filled the space where they had been standing just seconds before. They burst out of the tunnel entrance. All 5 of them fell to the ground outside. They were all breathing hard. Dust covered their faces and clothes. Theron was still alive because Catherine had pulled him to safety. For a moment, no one spoke. They just lay on the ground and breathed. Then Theron stood up. His face was covered with dust and blood from small cuts. He looked at Catherine and Marcus. He looked at the 3 alien engineers who were alive because humans had saved them. Theron spoke to Catherine directly. "Why did you return for me?" he asked. "I am Krell. I am the son of a commander. You are human. You could have let me die." Catherine was breathing hard. Her heart was still beating fast from fear. She did not understand his question. "Because we do not let people die," Catherine said. "It does not matter what species you are. We save people. That is what humans do." One of the alien engineers spoke. He was hurt and scared. "We were trapped," the engineer said. "The rescue equipment did not work. The machinery failed. We would have died in the collapse." Marcus stepped forward. "We are calling for help from Earth," Marcus said. "Our rescue teams are fast. We can have people here in 30 minutes. We will make sure all of you get proper medical care." Theron did not say anything. He just looked at them. His expression was strange. It was not anger. It was not happiness. It was something else. It was the look of someone whose world had just changed. The rescue teams came faster than expected. They were from the human section of the station. They brought medical supplies and stretchers. They treated the injured aliens with care and respect. They asked questions about what happened. They checked to make sure everyone was going to be okay. While the humans worked, Theron watched them. He watched how quickly they moved. He watched how they knew what to do without being told. He watched how they treated the injured aliens as if the aliens were worth saving. That night, Theron sent a message to his father and the council. Catherine did not know what the message said, but she knew it was important. She could see it in the way Theron moved. Something in him had changed. 3 days later, Theron left the station. Before he left, he went to find Catherine. "I came to your station to judge whether humans were worthy," Theron said. "I came with my father's anger in my heart. I believed his words. I believed that humans were soft and weak." He paused. He looked at the scars on his arms from the accident. "I was wrong," Theron said. "You saved my life without hesitation. You risk yourselves for me. Your kind has honor. Your kind has courage. I will tell the council this." After Theron left, Catherine stood alone in the station corridor. She thought about what he had said. She thought about the council voting against Earth. She thought about how one moment of human action had changed a Krell prince's mind. On Kepler Station, the humans and aliens went back to work. The mining continued, but things were different now. Darren had gone back to the Galactic Council with a new message, and on a ship traveling back to Earth, Daniel Foster received a communication from Catherine Wells. She told him what had happened in the tunnels. She told him what Darren had said. Daniel read the message twice. Then he read it again. Maybe the fight was not over yet. Maybe it was just beginning. The human colony fleet was traveling through empty space. There were 23 ships in the fleet. Some ships were small and fast. Some were large and carried supplies and equipment. Some were designed to protect the others. The fleet was traveling from Earth to a new colony called New Haven. The journey would take 6 months. The ships were on a direct course through space. They had traveled for 2 months already. Everything was calm. Everything was going well. Then the alarm started. On the command ship, Captain's Pride, Dr. Lisa Chun heard the warning sounds. Red lights filled the bridge. Officers shouted to each other. On the screens, she could see ships appearing out of empty space. Many ships. More ships than humans had ever seen together. The ships were Krell. They had weapons that glowed hot. They were moving fast. They were moving directly toward the human fleet. "This is not a drill," Lisa said into her communication system. "All ships, emergency evasive action, now." But there was nowhere to go. The Krell ships surrounded the human fleet. They came from all directions. They closed the gap between themselves and the human ships very fast. The first weapon fired. It was a Krell weapon. It hit one of the smaller human ships. The ship exploded. Pieces flew through space. Lisa felt her stomach go tight. She watched the explosion on the screen. Those were humans dying. Real people. Dead. "Return fire," she ordered. "All weapons. Target the nearest Krell ship." The human ships fired back. They had weapons that were small and not very advanced compared to Krell weapons. But they fired them anyway. One of the Krell ships took damage. Its lights flickered. But it kept coming. More weapons fired. More human ships were hit. The explosions lit up the darkness of space. Ensign Robert Hayes was at the communication station. His hands were shaking as he tried to contact the other ships. "All ships report in," Robert said. "Status report now." The answers came back. They were not good. 3 ships were destroyed. 5 ships were damaged. 17 ships were still fighting. But the Krell had at least 50 ships. Maybe more. Lisa understood the situation very quickly. The Krell had planned this. They had brought too many ships. They had brought enough ships to destroy the entire human fleet. And they wanted to destroy the entire human fleet. "Connect me to the Krell commander," Lisa ordered. A moment later, a face appeared on the screen. It was Commander Vex. His green skin was the color of old money. His dark eyes looked at Lisa with anger and disgust. "Why are you attacking us?" Lisa demanded. "We are on a peaceful mission." Vex made that strange laugh sound again. "Peaceful?" Vex said. "You are human. Humans have no right to exist in space. Humans have no right to take resources. Humans have no right to build colonies in our galaxy." "The Galactic Council approved our expansion," Lisa said. "The Council made a mistake," Vex said. "A mistake that I will correct. I will destroy every human ship. I will destroy every human colony. And then the Council will understand that humans should never have been allowed to exist at all." Vex's face disappeared from the screen. The communication ended. Lisa looked at her officers. They were all looking at her. They wanted to know what to do. They wanted their captain to have a plan. But Lisa did not have a good plan. She had no plan at all 23 ships against 50 ships. The human weapons were weaker. The Krell weapons were stronger. The human ships were slower. The Krell ships were faster. The humans were going to die. All of them. Robert Hayes spoke from his station. His voice was quiet. "Captain, I am getting a message. It is from the colony. They are asking about the situation. They want to know if help is coming." Lisa did not answer. She could not answer. No help was coming. There was no one who could help them. They were alone out here in space. Then the door to the bridge opened. Daniel Foster walked in. He had been in the lower sections of the ship. Now he was here. He had seen the explosions. He had felt the ship move from weapons fire. Lisa saw him, and her heart sank deeper. Daniel was not a military officer. He was a diplomat. He was a talker. He was not a fighter. "Captain," Daniel said. "What is happening?" "We are being attacked," Lisa said. "We cannot win. In approximately 30 minutes, all our ships will be destroyed." Daniel moved to the window. He looked out at the ships. He could see Krell weapons firing. He could see human ships trying to dodge and fail. He could see explosions. "Show me what we have," Daniel said. "Show me all our ships. Show me all our weapons. Show me everything we have." Lisa almost told him no. What was the point? But she was the captain. She was supposed to be in charge, and she had no better ideas. So she showed Daniel everything. For 10 minutes, Daniel studied the screens. He looked at the positions of the ships. He looked at the weapons. He looked at the trajectories of the Krell ships. He looked at the empty space between them. Then he spoke. "They expect us to run," Daniel said. "They expect us to try to escape. They expect us to be afraid. But what if we do not run? What if we fight back in a way they do not expect?" Lisa listened. Daniel pointed at the screen. He showed Lisa the empty space between some of the Krell ships. He showed her how the Krell ships were spread out. He showed her how they could move through that space. "We use gravity," Daniel said. "The planet Kepler 442 is close. Its gravity is strong. We move some of our ships around it. The Krell ships will follow, but the gravity will slow them down. It will separate them. It will break apart their formation. And then?" Robert asked. "And then we hit them," Daniel said. "With everything we have. We will not be able to destroy them all, but we can make them hurt. We can make them understand that we are not easy to kill." Lisa thought about this. It was not a perfect plan. It was not even a good plan, but it was better than nothing. It was better than just waiting to die. "Do it," Lisa said. "Change course. Send orders to all ships. We are going to use the planet. We are going to fight." The ships moved. They began to use the gravity of Kepler 442. The Krell followed. They were confident. They had too many ships. They had too much power. They had no idea what was coming. On the command bridge, Daniel Foster watched the screens. He watched the Krell formation start to break apart. He watched the gravity of the planet pull on the Krell ships. He watched the space between the Krell and the humans change, and he waited for the right moment. The right moment was coming. And when it came, the Krell would learn what they had done when they underestimated the humans. The space battle was the most violent thing anyone had ever seen. Ships moved in patterns that seemed impossible. The gravity of Kepler 442 pulled on everything. Some Krell ships moved slower. Some moved faster. The perfect formation that Vex had created broke apart into chaos. Daniel called out orders from the command bridge. "Ships 4 and 7, move through the asteroid field," he said. "Do not fire yet. Wait for my signal. Ships 12 and 14, you are the bait. Move away from the main group. Make Vex think you are trying to escape. The human ships moved. They moved in ways that were strange and unexpected. The Krell ships followed. They thought the humans were running. They thought they were chasing easy prey. But the humans were not running. They were herding the Krell like animals. When the right moment came, Daniel gave the order. All ships, fire now. Everything you have. The human weapons lit up the darkness. They came from directions that the Krell did not expect. The Krell ships that had broken away from the group took the full force of the human attack. One ship exploded. Another was damaged so badly it could not move. A third tried to escape, but moved right into the gravity well and was pulled toward the planet. The other Krell ships began to understand what was happening. They were being defeated by humans. By the species they had thought were weak and soft. Dot in his command ship, Vex watched the screens with growing anger. Humans were destroying his fleet. Humans were winning. It was impossible. It could not be happening. But it was happening. Vex made a decision. He would not retreat. He would not surrender. He would do something that no Krell commander had ever done before. He would sacrifice his own life to destroy the human fleet. Vex entered the navigation system. He set a course directly at the human command ship. He set the engines to maximum power. His ship would become a weapon. It would be a collision so powerful that it would destroy the command ship and kill Daniel Foster. If Vex was going to die, he would die taking his enemy with him. On the command bridge, alarms sounded again. Robert Hayes looked at his screen, and his face went white. "Captain, Vex's ship is heading toward us. Direct collision course. Impact in 3 minutes." Lisa looked at Daniel. Daniel was already moving. "I will take a shuttle," Daniel said. "I will intercept him." "That is suicide," Lisa said. "You will die." "Not if I get there first," Daniel said. He was already running toward the shuttle bay. Officers called out after him. No one tried to stop him. They understood what he was doing. They understood that he was willing to die to save the ship, and everyone on it. Daniel reached the shuttle and powered it up. He did not wait for any approvals. He did not wait for anyone to tell him it was okay. He just flew the shuttle out of the bay and toward Vex's ship. The shuttle was small. Vex's ship was massive, but the shuttle was faster. Daniel pushed the engines to maximum power. He flew directly at Vex's ship. On Vex's bridge, the Krell commander did not see the shuttle coming until it was too late. The shuttle hit Vex's ship on the side. The impact was powerful. It was not powerful enough to destroy the big ship, but it was powerful enough to change its course. Vex's ship moved away from the human command ship. It moved toward empty space. The collision that Vex had planned did not happen. Daniel's shuttle was damaged from the impact. It could not fly anymore. It drifted in space, powerless. Daniel was inside, wounded but alive. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then new ships appeared. They came out of hyperspace with engines burning bright. They were Krell ships, but they were not here to attack. They were here to help. Prince Theron's voice came through the communication system. "This is Prince Theron of the Krell," he said. "I am commanding a task force from the Galactic Council. Stand down immediately, or we will destroy all remaining hostile Krell ships." Vex's remaining ships did not fight. They did not have the strength to fight. They did not have the will to fight. They began to retreat. Some of them ran. Some of them surrendered. The battle was over. The human ships had survived. 17 of 23 ships still existed. Hundreds of humans had died. Thousands had been wounded. The damage was terrible. But the humans had won. Theron's rescue ships came to collect the survivors. They picked up Daniel's shuttle with Daniel still inside. Medical teams worked on him. He had broken ribs and internal bleeding. But he would live. The first person to visit Daniel when he woke up in the medical bay was Theron. The Krell Prince stood looking at the human who had just tried to sacrifice his life to save others. "I told my father that humans had honor," Theron said. "I told him that humans had courage. He did not believe me. I tried to convince the council, but they also did not believe. They thought I was wrong about you." Daniel tried to sit up, but Theron stopped him. "Stay still," Theron said. "You are badly hurt, but you will heal. And when you heal, all of the galaxy will know what you did here. When you heal, the council will understand that humans are not soft. You are not weak. You are not inferior." Theron paused. He looked at the human floating in the medical bed. A human who had risked everything. A human who had fought against impossible odds and survived. "My father believed that you were worth destroying," Theron said. "But I saw your people save my life on Kepler Station. And I see you now, willing to die so that your people could live. You have proven something today. You have proven that humans have the kind of courage that we Krell respect." In space around them, the human ships began repairs. The dead were being remembered. The wounded were being healed. And the story of the Battle of Kepler was spreading through the galaxy. The story said that humans had fought 50 Krell ships with 23 of their own. The story said that humans had won. The story said that a human had sacrificed himself to save his people. The story was true. And the galaxy would never be the same. 1 month had passed since the battle. Daniel Foster's wounds had healed. The bruises were gone. The broken ribs were strong again. But the memory of pain remained. It reminded him of what had happened. It reminded him of why he was alive. He was back on Centauri Prime, back in the Galactic Council chamber. The same chamber where the Council had rejected Earth. The same chamber where they had said humans were not worth their time. Everything about the chamber looked the same. The tall ceilings, the polished floors, the circle of chairs where the council members sat. But something was different. The air felt different. The way the council members looked at Daniel was different. They were not dismissive. They were not angry. They were afraid. Daniel walked to the center of the chamber. His back was straight. His head was high. He did not feel small anymore. Council leader Kane stood up. The ancient Anthron looked at Daniel directly. His gold eyes showed something that Daniel had not seen before: respect. "Daniel Foster of Earth," Kane said, "we have called you here to acknowledge a grave error. 1 month ago, this council made a decision. We decided that humans were not ready for the Federation. We decided that humans were weak and inferior. We were wrong." Kane paused. He was clearly finding it difficult to speak these words. But he continued, "The evidence of our error is not difficult to see. Human ships faced an impossible situation. They faced 50 Krell warships with only 23 of their own. By all laws of warfare, they should have been destroyed in minutes. But instead, they won. They won because of your ingenuity. They won because of your tactics. They won because of your courage." Vex was not in the chamber. He had refused to come. His ship was damaged. His pride was damaged. He could not face the council after his defeat. But his son Theron was there. The Krell Prince stood at the side of the chamber. He had come to speak for his people. Lyra moved in her chair. The Venitri representative's voice was soft but clear. "I spoke against humanity," Lyra said. "I said that humans would be a burden to the Federation. I said that humans did not have the power to matter in our galaxy. I was wrong. I apologize to you, Daniel Foster. I apologize to all humans." One by one, the other council members spoke. They admitted their error. They acknowledged what humans had done. They recognized that humans deserved respect. Then Theron spoke. His voice was strong. "My father, Commander Vex, believed that humans were soft and weak, Theron said. He attacked your fleet because he thought humans could not fight back. He thought that destroying your ships would prove to the Council that humans should never have existed. Instead, he learned something different. He learned that humans are more than capable of defending themselves. More than that, he learned that humans would die for each other. That is something my people respect. Theron moved forward. On Kepler Station, a human doctor named Catherine Wells pulled me from a collapsing tunnel. She risked her life for me. A stranger, an alien, a Krell who had treated her with disrespect. She did it anyway because that is what humans do. That is the kind of species you are. Theron paused and looked directly at Daniel. Then, on that day in space, you flew a shuttle directly at my father's ship. You knew that you might die. You knew that the collision might kill you. But you did it to save your people. You did it because that is what honor means to you. The chamber was silent. Everyone was looking at Daniel. Everyone was waiting to hear what he would say. Daniel took a breath. He thought about the first time he had stood in this chamber. He thought about how small he had felt. He thought about how the council had made him feel worthless. When I first came to this council, Daniel said, I asked for one thing. I asked for Earth to be accepted into the Federation. I said that humans had something valuable to offer. I said that humans could help. The council said no. The council said that humans were not ready. Daniel moved slowly around the chamber. The council was right, Daniel said, but not in the way that the council believed. Humans were not ready. We were not ready because we had never had to prove ourselves. We had never had to show what we could do when we were facing impossible odds. We were not ready because we needed to show the galaxy who we really are. Daniel stopped in the center of the chamber. I do not ask for forgiveness, Daniel said. I do not ask for sympathy. I ask only for what the council originally rejected. I ask for Earth to be accepted into the Federation. And now I also ask for one additional thing. I ask that Earth have a seat on this council, because humanity has earned it. We have earned it with blood and courage and sacrifice. Kane stood again. He moved to the voting chairs. The council members moved with him. They formed a line. The council will vote, Kane said. The question is simple. Should Earth be accepted into the Federation as a full member with a seat on this council? The voting was fast. One by one, each council member voted. And one by one, each vote was the same. Yes, yes, yes. When all the votes were counted, the result was clear. 12-0. This time, the vote was for Earth. It is decided, Kane said. Earth is accepted into the Galactic Federation. Earth is granted a permanent seat on this council. And Daniel Foster, you are appointed as Earth's first representative. The chamber filled with a sound that was like applause, but different. It was the sound of respect. It was the sound of acceptance. Lyra moved forward and extended her hand to Daniel. He took it. Her skin was like water. Welcome to the council, she said. Theron also moved forward. He placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. Your father would be proud, Theron said. All of humanity should be proud. Daniel looked around the chamber. At the council members. At the witnesses. At the power that was now his. Power that humanity could use to protect itself. Power that humanity had earned. He thought about all the humans who had died in the battle. He thought about the ones who were wounded. He thought about the ones who had fought because they believed that humans deserved to exist among the stars. Humanity will not forget this, Daniel said. We will not forget what we had to do. We will not forget that strength is not measured in the number of years a species has lived. Strength is measured in the willingness to protect others. Strength is measured in the courage to face impossible odds. Strength is measured in the decision to choose honor over survival. Daniel paused. Earth will be a good member of this federation, Daniel said. We will be a member that the Council can trust. We will be a member that the Council can count on. And we will never forget the lesson that this month has taught us. We learned that underestimating us was a mistake. We will make sure that no one ever makes that mistake again. As Daniel finished speaking, he looked toward the tall doors of the council chamber. Those doors would close behind him. He would walk out into the corridors of Centauri Prime as Earth's official representative to the Galactic Council, the human who had convinced the galaxy that humans mattered. Outside the chamber, the news was already spreading. Humans had won their place in the Federation. Humans had earned respect. Humans had proven that they belonged among the stars. And on Earth, people looked up at the night sky and saw it differently. The stars were no longer distant and unreachable. The stars were home. Not yet, but someday soon they would be. The story of humanity had just begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.